Welcome to Control and Compete. Today we're joined by a good friend of mine, Nick Turner from NT Esports. Nick, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you as well. You got it, I never picked you up from the airport.
It was an interesting system,
Right, okay.
on the taxis.
Right.
And then
In what way? Tell me.
well, it was kind of like we spoke to somebody and then they took my details, and then about 10 minutes later somebody called me,
Right.
and then I jumped in the taxi. So it was quite efficient, in fairness,
Right,
I have to say. And then less efficient when I found out how much it cost.
Yep.
I did nearly spit my water out. But
What can you do at that point?
Well, you can't. That's it. They've got you hostage.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I had a really good chat with him on the way here.
What was
The
he
sun's
saying?
shining. He asked me if I was a footballer or a rugby man.
Did you tell him West Ham?
I did. And then we had a whole conversation about he was a Hibs fan and how rubbish both those teams are.
Right.
So it was quite good. Yeah. And then he gave me a bit of history about Edinburgh.
Really?
And we
What did
talked
he
about
say?
population. And he said, there's about 550,000 here. He said, but festival week, it's like 1 point something million.
Yeah, crazy.
And he had somebody in the taxi that was there for 4 weeks. And he said, "What, you've been in a hotel for 4 weeks?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yep." That must have been expensive. He said, "No, it wasn't too bad actually. It was 650 quid a night."
Aye, not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. We're in the wrong industry.
And I think we came back from DreamHack and we were in Sweden and it was so efficient, right? Everything was perfect. We came back to Edinburgh. People were getting stuck in the, like it was quite funny because you know how you get the wee door bits? Somebody got stuck in that, right? And then we got the bus back and then we came into this transport bit and the boy stopped and he said, everyone's going to have to get off the bus, we've ran out of diesel. And we're like, all right. So we all stood up and then he just put the foot down and everybody fell backwards. Well, back in Scotland then. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So Nick, you're going to be doing our host for tomorrow. Are you looking forward to it?
I am really looking forward to it. Yeah, I've been buzzing for a few weeks now. You know, as you build up to the event, 'cause obviously I've known that I was going to be there for a good few months now. But you kind of it's just something in the calendar. Whereas, yeah, for the last couple of weeks, I'm so excited and, you know, and seeing the setup and also just catching up with really good friends. You know, I've got partners here.
It was nice when we met you at the gate, you know, with Bubba and Alec as well. We all know each other.
It was, yeah, and that's the kind of that's that whole esports community.
Yep.
Is that most of the time everyone cross paths.
Yep.
You know, and it just so happens that, you know, I've got a couple of business partners that are here this weekend and
Yep.
people that we've done arenas for.
Yep.
You know, I've just had a chat with Gavin. And that was the first ever arena that I consulted on back in the day.
I was going to say, because that's a UUTech one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a Yo-Yo Tech arena, and it was Andrew Forster from the foundation.
So were you working on that back then?
So Newcastle approached me, and then
So
it went from there. So, and it was Yo-Yo Tech's first arena after QMC. So it was quite a big one. So
is that how you met UUTech, was through QMC?
So I was head of esports at QMC, and we had a Yo-Yo Tech arena. So I had a Yo-Yo Tech office, if you like, for 2 years. So my office was the arena.
Got it.
And again,
So did you have like different programs on different PCs, or you just all?
No. So year one, management of the PCs was shocking, James. Like, you know, we had 2 IT apprentices, and they spent, because we had 52 machines across 2 arenas. They spent 90% of their time just going around logins, updates, logins, updates.
Oh, because even logins, when you're talking about even Epic Games, you've got to then go back to the Hotmail account associated with it.
Guest accounts, you know, when we had birthday parties and when we used to monetize the space really effectively, and, you know, people are coming in. They didn't.
Are you about to plug up a company now? Sort of.
But then we got the software, the management software.
Yeah.
And then the management software changed everything, because even I could manage the arena, so I could go in and teach, manage all the computers, all the software. It's so easy.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, not cheap, but for those people that use GG Circuit, they know what they work out what they're paying for, and, you know, in year 2 when it came around to renew the contract, IT actually paid for it, because it saved the amount of time it saved them in staff.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So they paid it. So yeah, so that was how I got involved with Yo-Yo Tech.
Do you know what? I've always loved it, you Nick. You're always hot on the button. There's always something that you know about that's coming or there. How do you do it? Is it because you're that interested in it, or your connections or what?
You know, I'm going to be brutally honest here, James. I'm very lucky in that, I suppose, almost right time, right place. So I've been working in esports and education for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And if you think kind of like it really kicked off maybe 5 years ago when the BTEC came out in England, And I'd already been working in that space for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd jumped out of education to go and work for an esports company to build their education centre. So I was already kind of like working in the background with like people like British Esports and other suppliers.
Pearson's and
yeah, and the BTEC came out. Somebody came to get some advice. James at QMC came to get some advice. Worked out that I'd spent 10 years as head of department, you know, where I'd introduced games development because I was already working on the board for the esports organisation, and said, Nick, you need to come to QMC and run the esports. So you know, that's what happened. And then through that, because we were the first people to have the arena, all eyes were on us. You know, and I started to write blogs and documents for Pearson's and things like that. And that's what I mean about the time and the place. So I've been there from the start, and I've been that journey. I've seen it all. I've seen all of the progression through being in the classroom. But there was a reason I left education, and you know, a couple of years back in as
I remember
teaching.
talking to you during that process as well.
Yeah, and it was difficult. It was a difficult choice to make to go back into education, but going back into esports education was completely different. And I had the best few years at QMC.
What did you enjoy most about it, do you think?
Love teaching. You know, that's why people say, God, how could you be a teacher? And nearly every teacher will say, because I like teaching.
But because okay, here's the thing, right? You say, I like teaching, right? What is it about teaching that you like? Is it helping the kids? Is it seeing them, the struggles, or helping support?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It's giving back something that, you know, we've all, in our careers, there's always been somebody who has given us something.
No, you're right, yeah. You always had that teacher that maybe seen something in you.
Inspired you on. I remember my geography teacher at school, you know, and kind of like how that then led to me falling in love with geography and then doing my degree in geography and all of those sorts of things. So, you know, I started out, my first career was in media as a broadcast journalist. I worked in radio and had set up my first company when I was 25. We used to broadcast 7 days a week, so it was full on.
So how did that? So I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
So how did that work then? About 25-year-old Nick, like what were you doing? Just playing music and like talking or?
Yeah, so I was a journalist, and so I used to read news and sport on air. The client base we had was over 200 radio stations, so I've read news and sport on over 200 radio stations.
That's good.
Most of them UK based, when we used to have independent local radio in the UK, which we don't anymore, unfortunately. And I used to train journalists as well, so I used to pick people, you know, when I needed new journalists, I would get quite often media students, not journalist students, because I found out, you know, I did a postgrad diploma in broadcast journalism, but it wasn't until I started actually working in radio, that's when you learn the real job. So I didn't want people coming in with a you know, of what they were going to be doing. So it's like I wanted the person, and I wanted the you know, the spark and the charisma and the confidence that I could then show them the ropes about how my company worked, because that company was really quite unique in what we did at the time. And that gave me a massive buzz, and we won a couple of awards for training, and then family relocated. Me and my wife were living 200 miles apart. We wanted to start a family. So we relocated. I still did a bit of radio. You know, me and my wife met in radio. So she carried on working in London in radio. And I did weekend stuff. But again, after running your business for like nearly 10 years, and I was up at 4 a.m. and on air at 6, finished my shift at 1, and then you do the business stuff after. So I was doing 14-hour days, 7 days
You
a
always
week.
seem to me like you're a grafter anyway, so you probably done more than the usual person.
That did me the world of good.
You think? Do you think early starts as well?
All of the early starts, because I have no issue with doing.
Do you still get up early?
Yeah,
do you?
I do.
What time? So I've been trying to get myself up earlier this week just to make sure, because it's going to be.
What time do you normally get up, James?
5 to 8.
Yeah, so
5 to 8. Spoon. Dress. Go.
I can't sleep till 5 to 8. 6 o'clock is.
What time do you get out of bed?
Early.
Yeah, see.
Fairly early.
I try to get my bed before midnight if possible.
Yeah, no, I'm like I struggle with midnight on New Year's Eve, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
10 is
Something like my mum now. She's going to
10's a
bed
late
for the
night.
bells.
10's a late night for me. But when I used to get up at 4 o'clock, I was in bed at 9 o'clock. You know, but trying to sleep in the summer at 9 o'clock in the evening is difficult. And
Yeah.
if your team's on the telly playing
I was
football,
going to say, you know what? You can't watch
yeah,
any.
so you'd stay up and then like in the
The West Ham
morning.
don't play much European games, do they?
No, I had 1 year of it.
Sorry.
A couple of years we did win.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you know things like I remember like the Liverpool 3-0 comeback.
Yeah, you see Milan.
I was working in radio at that point, so I'd switched off at half time.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
My fiance at the time, my now wife, texted me, "Are you watching this?"
No.
Put it back on, and then
Yeah.
you know, but it was worth it. But in the morning, I regretted it.
So in a sense then, do you enjoy that early morning when nobody's really around then?
I used to love in the summer, 4 o'clock, drive to work, birds singing, sun's out.
I don't think anyone should be awake at 4.
Now, you do get used to it, you know, and you'd hone it as well. So I had all my clothes out ready, literally next to the bed. So I used to get up, I'd have a shower before I went to bed.
Yeah.
Get up, clean my teeth, put the clothes on, get in the car, get to work, straight in, coffee, first coffee, start, and then that was it. You know, and I still drink a ridiculous amount of coffee now, based on what I used to do back then.
What kind of coffee do you drink? I've kind of went up to, I think I've got a coffee machine in the house now, which is good. I grind my own beans now.
See, that's nice, and I do like a cafe coffee.
You like Nescafe?
But
instant?
I'm an instant.
Oh come on! And there's a different world out there now. You should try it.
Yeah, but it does. Like when you drink the amount of coffee I do,
Fair enough.
there's a little bit of indigestion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Going on. It doesn't really work for me if I have too many, but I do like one, and I love an espresso.
And Jake, it helps you. I love an espresso. You know,
I have an espresso before I go to bed.
Do you?
Yeah.
So that's weird. And so do you think? I've actually found I could probably sleep off coffee as well.
Yeah, it really
Some
doesn't
people
bother me.
can't, and it's the opposite.
My wife will have one caffeine coffee in the morning, then a cup of tea,
Yeah.
and then it's caffeine
Free
free
all day.
and then stops on the caffeine free at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Whereas I'm still drinking coffee at 8 in the evening, and then quite often if I go to bed and I want to watch a thing, I'll take an espresso to bed.
Ah, there you go.
Nice.
I like it. But hold on, an espresso of Nescafe. Is that what you're doing?
It's a proper espresso, but it is
Okay,
instant. It
that's
is
fine,
an instant
that's fine, that's
in a little glass as well.
Right, that's fine.
Because if I've got like a late evening meeting, because a lot of the meetings I do are people abroad or whatever, and I'm sat there, you know, little cup, and I'll quite often get commented.
You probably catch people on the hop if everyone else is like half awake and you're like absolutely fine at 9 o'clock in the morning. And plus you do a lot of, you know, I don't know how you do it, but you're on how many boards, you're always on something else, you're always doing like, you know, webinars. So what's the ones that you're involved with then?
So I'm chair of the education committee for the Esports Trade Association, which is based in Chicago. I've been doing that for 2 years now.
Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, it's great. And, you know, it's one of those things that it gives me an insight into global esports, which is so invaluable in what I do. So, for example, in the last 2 years, we've managed to build the committee. So it's almost like a global think tank. So I've got people from the UK and Europe, North America, South America, Asia, India. There's another one that's I've forgotten off the top of my head that's really important. But what that
country that's important?
It's no. There's another link in that system.
Oh, sorry.
It escapes me, but it's really important because then I get to see what's happening in all of these different countries.
That's a great way to be.
And you know, like, and one of the reasons that I'm here in Scotland right now is because obviously we met and started to work together a fair few years back, and I kind of see how Scotland has developed and recent stuff that I've been doing with SQA here, but I'm seeing similar patterns abroad, and it's usually abroad tends to be they go straight for the online commercial vehicle to create programs because the private industry, private business, they can do it. They're not. There's no red tape. There's no accreditation as such. They just get on and do it if they've got the investment, and then the formal qualifications follow. Whereas in England, we're much more formal, you know, and so things need to be adhered to. Accreditation's important, but that's a process in its own right. You know, and I think like for Scotland right now, you know, that's why you know, phase is perfect timing because it's just kicking off. It's all kicking off. Like it's, you know, the things that we were talking about 3 years ago, you know, and like battling for and trying to. It's almost like everyone's caught up.
And so where would you say we were on par with now then? Like, you could say in a sense, you're like England 3 years ago, or like...
Yeah, so I would say England 3 years, maybe not, maybe let's say 4, but give it another year, and I think you'll be exactly where we were 3 years ago in England. And at that point, it had all kicked off, and it was all...
And especially now, I'm so glad that you're involved with SQA as well, because the wealth of experience that you've got, it's great to think that you're on board and you can give that experience so that, you know, because that's what they're looking for, because they want to do it, but they need the right people involved.
Yeah,
to make it
and I have to
happen.
say, James, the team at SQA were unbelievable.
Good.
Absolutely awesome. Like, it was such an efficient process. They listened, they valued everything, you know, everything was clear. I knew, you know, I vetted the whole qualification and wrote at one of the units for it. Just to add, somebody else did vet that unit for me. I didn't vet my own unit.
Clarify that.
But it was, you know, the process was really efficient, and the end result, the qualification, is an evolvement of what I've seen in England, which again is really important.
But that's what's good about you, because once again, you're exactly that, because you're not just going to say, okay, look, oh, you want one, hold on a minute. Oh, here's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if esports evolves so quickly, you know, that whole world. And, you know, the new qualification from the SQA reflects it, you know, and there's elements in there that aren't in any of the previous qualifications that I've worked on or seen and looked at or taught or whatever. You know, and I think Scotland's in a good place, and I've now for the first time got a number of customers who have ordered kit, facilities, you know, like they're starting to see that investment in the broader elements of, you know, that not just gaming, like esports as a qualification, and the fact that, you know, creating immersive spaces and what that does for engagement and recruitment and all of those things that you know, we know, and I, you know, I've been banging the drum for years over it, but I'm almost past banging that drum.
Good.
You know, which is good, because it means we've moved on.
Yeah.
You know, and I still go to certain events and certain conferences, and, you know, people have only just started the journey, that journey, and they're talking about the things that we were talking about a few years back, but with that same passion. You know, and like
Passion's through the whole industry.
I've never seen that in any other area, James. Like, you know, it's like I said, geography was my favourite subject at school.
Yep.
Absolutely loved it. Hated it.
Doesn't change much though.
Hated it until it does over millions of years.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I used to hate it, and then it all clicked, and so I really liked it. But, you know, no disrespect to geography things, you know, I'm a big fan. But that passion doesn't...
The more people that get involved with it, the more brains that are getting involved with it, the more chance you've got for it to evolve, for people to think a different way or try a different way. So that's evolution with it, right? And they can try different things that are working.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's good about it as well.
And lots of people do. And it's sort of like, I would never tell somebody no. You know, if they've got a valid idea and they think it's going to work, even if I don't necessarily think it's going to work, and I think that's not going to work, but I want you to go through that process to see that it's not going to work. Not unless they're going to invest, like, you know, I'm going to put 100 grand of my own money and mortgage my house. But no, honestly, please don't do that. But most times they're just small little things, you know, that you, like, teachers do, and things that happen in the classroom. It's like, go for it, see what happens.
And do you think then it's more through the independent schools, colleges, high schools? What would you say would you see the most, the rise in the most?
Okay, that's a really good question, James, because that market, it really flux. And has done for years. So originally it was all about the colleges.
Yeah.
All about the colleges. And then the colleges got on board, loads got on board, and then like a couple of years after, the second wave of colleges woke up and said, hold on a minute, their competitors are doing it, we're missing out. And then in that time, there was like 1 or 2 independent schools that dipped in, and there were 1 or 2 schools that dipped in. While all that's going on, you've got the universities have suddenly realised that, hang on a minute.
We should be doing this.
So I think the last time I did my research on UCAS, I think there's 72 esports courses available at university level across 36 institutions. I think that was the last stat from a couple of months ago that I worked out, which is phenomenal, because previously it was only like 2 places and it was really specialist courses. So we've got the college and we've got this end, like the universities. And what's happened is schools are now getting on
High
board
schools.
big time. Yeah, like secondary schools, even some junior schools are getting involved, but in a much smaller
Yep.
capacity. But we're doing a lot more business, excuse me, with Yo-Yo Tech and with my services at NTE Sports, like with quality control, those sorts of things, with schools, which is great because you're creating that pipeline.
Yep.
And then I would say in the last year and a half, the
So
independent schools are
pipeline between high school to college. You're talking
from
about.
school,
Yep.
college.
And that's what they want. I mean, you learn more
Yeah.
about it. The high school colleges to them, it's very important for them to get that kind of upcoming
Yeah.
students coming in from high school.
When I was head of department at college, you know, that progression route was really important. So we used to do, just as an example, do level 1 media, level 2 media, level 3 media, and then we delivered a degree. So we could keep students, retain students for like 6-7 years. And you're guaranteeing that path through. And when you've got schools all the way through university, that means that path through is solid, so it's sustainable. But also, it means the universities constantly have to up their game.
So here's the thing. So let's fast forward. If you can start to get degree courses at colleges, which I know you can, surely universities will be like, hold on a minute, that's what we do, right? So hopefully, and then it might all start to amalgamate to one thing.
The way that if you're
It'll be like a mega hospital. Your primary one at this side, and your uni at the end.
Yeah, so you know, like the HND was launched in September 24. So and lots of colleges are able to deliver HNDs because it's BTEC. So they're keeping students like they have a sixth form, or you know, they're sort of keeping them for the HND. But most colleges, sort of traditionally 16 to 18-year-olds, that are delivering degrees as well, they're delivering them as a satellite centre.
Right.
So we used to deliver degrees that
What do you
were
mean by a satellite centre?
so validated by the University of Surrey.
Okay.
So it goes through their validation process, and Surrey say, yes, we're happy with you. You can deliver a University of Surrey degree from your college,
Right.
because you've got the facilities, like they do at you know, places like Wiltshire and you know, there's quite a few colleges now that deliver universities, but they generally work deliver them on behalf of another university.
Ah, okay. So here's one for you, right? Because you're very much in it and you're very much in writing it. How many different variations of esports degrees have you seen? Are they all touching on some business, some
Lots.
media?
Yeah.
So what ones do you think work and what don't?
Do you know what?
Because sometimes there's definitely been a bit where people think, oh, people are just sticking esports onto the side to try and attract students, right? So there's always going to be that part of it, right? But which ones do you think give the most value?
Yeah.
Then? What would you say?
Do you know what, James? I wouldn't like to pick one out, but I'll give you the reasons why. There are so many different degrees in esports, and you can have esports with marketing, esports broadcast,
Business,
production, business, law. You know, there's so many variants. So therefore, the quality of that degree depends on where it's being delivered and who's delivering it. It's also relevant on what the student wants.
Yep. And what they can get job-wise after it.
If a student is they've studied law at A level, and esports alongside.
There could be modules. You could have a law degree that has an esports module. No, it doesn't have to be an old esports degree.
Oh yeah, so you do. A lot of them are like marketing with esports, you know, and that sort of thing. And students will then join the same students who are doing a full-time esports degree for those modules. So they're in those lessons.
Got you.
But yeah, you know, I had a student who was doing law A level, business A level, and esports BTEC. And I remember having a conversation with her going, interesting combo. And she said, I said, why? She said, right, because I want to go to university and I want to do law, but I want to work within law, within esports, because at the moment there aren't many esports lawyers about. This was 4 years ago. So I need to understand the law, but I need to understand the esports law.
Yeah.
I was like,
fair play.
Switched on. You know, like that's a great idea. And she went on to university to do law, but
how easy do you think it is for people that are switched on to think they might want to do that, to pick these courses now? How do you think it's that?
I think again, it's over the years, it's grown and evolved so much that the teachers that are delivering are able to have those conversations and explain to these people, you know, to these learners, like, yeah, but there are all of these different careers. You can do that. And, you know, how you go about it. Either way, most of the sort of like the college courses, and the skills that they're learning are all transferable and can be taken into lots of different industries. So if they then choose to do something on the side or specialise at university in something else, they can use all of that within the esports industry. Because let's be honest, you know, 20 years ago, esports wasn't even called esports, and when it kind of blew up, esports just stole people from other industries. All the broadcasters, the networkers, the IT.
Absolutely, you see on LinkedIn all the time people coming from big, massive networks coming over to esports, and that's good though.
Yeah, it's good because they bring in that kind of like initial knowledge, whereas now education is delivering those skills, but within the context of esports. And you know that's kind of inevitable. And I think when one of the reasons that NT Esports kind of started really, was just to the demand of suddenly this esports qualification came out and people were being asked to teach it that didn't know anything about esports.
No resources at all.
They may well have been gamers, so you know, and so they understood that, or they might have watched esports, didn't really understand the industry, or they were sporty, or they were computer based.
Yep.
So like my teaching resources, like when I started.
How many downloads have you got now?
It's just over 21,000. I think.
That's brilliant.
I'd still wake up in the morning and go.
Or did
Because
you
I didn't
check him in overnight?
I did every day.
That's why you're up at 4.
Every day, yeah, that's it. I put it on and plop. Oh, there's another thing. But you know, I certainly didn't set that up as a revenue stream. I set it up because people were asking me, like, have you got any resources? And I was like, yeah, I have. But I spent months preparing these because I knew the BTEC was coming.
Yeah.
You know, I worked really hard, and they're really nice. You know, they look nice because I wanted them to look cool for the students because the nature of the course.
Well, once again, to engage with them.
I want them to look them and go, this is esports. Look, he's got a character from Fortnite on here or whatever. And so, but then I realised, it's like, hang on a minute, there's a lot of teachers that are like crying out for resources, and more traditional subjects like media, and you know, you could go onto TS and there's thousands of resources. And colleges would have resources because they've been teaching it for 20 years. And esports, there was nothing. And again, time. Lack of time and place, and you know, and that kind of
do you know what? Honestly, I give you more credit than that. I don't think, again, luck and time's probably got a part of it, but you've got to make it happen, mate. I think you definitely make it happen.
My wife always says it's about, you know, taking the opportunity, seeing the opportunity.
And if you talk about luck and time, if you're always at it, you're going to hit every time. Do you know what I mean?
There are things still, and there have been things in the past that I've.
And you still hunger for it? Do you still love it? Do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, you've done the grind to get it to where it is. Do you think you're looking forward to the time where it's even easier?
I'd like to get to a point whereby I had to work less, but I don't mind the grind, you know. And like when you're kind of working for your own company, you know, I'm effectively self-employed, but employed by my company. It is down to me.
Yeah.
So you have to put the graft in because you never know when your next contract's going to end,
Yeah.
or when your next new contract's going to turn up. And you know, that's quite scary. The same as, but I'm used to that from my business that I had in my 20s. So, you know, at the moment, my quality of life is good. I'm happy, you know, and that's the most important thing. You know, like I get to spend a good amount of time with my family.
Yep.
I get to come to events like this, you know. And when I was a teacher, obviously, you're chained to the classroom.
Yeah, it sounded tough when you were a teacher.
Monday to Friday. It's hard work. You know, there's a reason why thousands and thousands of teachers start teaching, and within the first 6 months they leave. There is a reason for that.
Is that a start?
Yeah, and they're always struggling to find new teachers. You know, and I went into teaching as somebody from industry to teach media, thinking, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to tell them all the stuff that I know. Look at all these examples. I've interviewed these people. Da, da, da. That's not the reality. It's just, it really isn't the reality. And, you know, and one thing, I used to say it, well, it's a lot of teachers, they get like all the summer off.
Yeah, so people could kill you for it.
When you speak to any teacher who's done it for a little while, like now I resent that comment a lot because...
And it's difficult because you're dealing with kids all day as well.
You need, you know, half your time social work, you're dealing with,
That's what I mean.
you're dealing with teenagers.
As well, yeah.
And things have changed so much over the years, you know. But in saying that, I also did love it.
I know.
It was the red tape and which is why I go into colleges and talk.
Yeah.
Because it takes me back to teaching.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, oh yeah, I'll come in and talk about esports. And,
well, I'm looking forward to seeing you certainly talk tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. First time as host.
Yeah, you'll be good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for inviting me and thanks for getting me on.
No problem at all. Take it easy, buddy.
Cheers, James.